we can justify an extension beyond Muscatine County.
I have two questions. The first is, why do we have a different set of policies for one versus the other? I think that in itself promotes this problem where we've hired people under one set of rules, and now we've got an entire another set of rules before they can take the next step. I really think that in itself sends a bad message that, okay, these people over here are critical. We're talking about emergency services. I mean, we're talking about our safety personnel. They're all critical. I would say that we ought to have one set of rules, one policy that covers it, whatever we're going to do, so that we don't run into that roadblock. Now, the second thing I would say is, I really can't support a 30-mile radius for our emergency service personnel, and for the exact reason of the response time. I mean, generally speaking, you're probably not going to run into a situation where it's a problem, but I don't want to be the guy who has an emergency on a bad day when we're having a lot of them, and I'm the one waiting for the 45-minute drive in. A lot of communities, I would say most communities, have where the people actually have to live within the city limits, not within the county limits, within the city limits. I'm not necessarily going to promote that, but I'm certainly not going to go 30 miles out and wait for somebody to drive in from Davenport or Bettendorf. I can't support that.
A couple comments. There's several communities listed in the memorandum. City limits is not a very common residency requirement beyond city administrators and managers any longer. Just the ability to hire employees these days, it's too limiting. And there's a list in the memo as I indicated. I agree that we'd like to work towards a standard policy. We'll have to work on that with our unions going forward. I think going forward, in my opinion, I'd like to see an air mile standard rather than a county standard. I think it's easier to identify and enforce. I think it's clear. It seems to be a more common route that most communities are using, aeronautical miles, whatever you want to call it, a radius around City Hall, for example. But it'd be my intent to work towards a more standard policy with our unions, but that's a contract and negotiated issue. What we're talking about tonight are all supervisory employees, all supervisory, not just police and fire, but all supervisory employees across the board. All supervisory employees are designated as critical employees, so it's not just police and fire that we're talking about tonight. Chief, did you have something?
I would like to address the first question they had on the 4 counties. The reason that we did that was earlier in my career, we were losing a lot of officers and we weren't getting a pool of officers to draw from. because they didn't want to live in Muscatine. We have a lot of officers on our department that are from the Davenport area or Rock Island area. So you're looking at the Quad City area, and we're drawing a lot of people from there. So, you know, they'd rather stay in the town that they grew up in, maybe. I personally didn't want to, but some people do. So that's why we opened it up for the Fort County area.
How many again in Scott County?
We have 8 in Scott County. 7 of those actually live in Davenport, or one's actually in, I think, Eldridge, but he just got hired, so that's one of the new guys. And you can get to most places in Davenport within, you know, with the 4 lanes within a half hour to 45 minutes.
In a squad car.
In a squad car.
That's without lights.
Steph has something to say. I'd like to hear her thoughts.
I was just going to add to answer Mark's first question about the response time. And I haven't had this conversation with Chief Talkington, but when Chief Coderoni was here, one of his responses to the distance was that, generally speaking, we're not calling police officers back. If there's a major emergency, we're holding the existing staff over, and the coming on staff comes on. So there isn't really a time that you're waiting for people to respond. You're holding people over on shift on overtime if a situation will present itself. And in an all-call situation, you know, most of the employees do live near here, and you're only waiting for maybe a few to respond. So just to kind of address that.
Okay. Any further questions or comments? Oh, Sam.
I just would like to make one comment here. Just hearing everybody here, I cannot thank the companies in town enough for being a good corporate citizen by hiring people and mandate for these people to live within the city limit or the county in Muscatine. So that speaks volume for our community, and the reason they're doing here for the safety, security, the school district that we have here in this town, and that's how they sell it. And we take that for granted probably, and we don't think about it that much for these people and these companies to bring people in town here and have them live in the city. And here right now, I know, I'm not sure if I'm comparing apples to apples here, but I know the jobs that you are asking for and the chief is asking for here, it's specified for certain things and emergency and security and safety. So I don't know how to compare this. So just I want to make sure that I mention that the corporates here in Muscatine, they do that often.
Well, the corporate that you work for
Does, but none of the others.
Well, I cannot speak on behalf of everybody, but I'm just giving an example here. So
It is common that there have been changes in the workforce, and that it's not uncommon for the management personnel not to live within the city of Muscatine, which is sad because I'd like to have them to take, everyone to take ownership in the city as much as we have. But I concur with what you're in your proposal, and to have the 20-mile or 30-mile air or 20-mile radius, air radius, is that your term? That in the recommendation, I think that is a.
And my recommendation would be for 30 miles.
But your recommendations for 30 miles.
Air miles.
Okay.
The chief is recommending 30 air miles.
And Chief, is the reason for you preferring that is because 20 just...
20 just barely gets into bluegrass and doesn't get into Davenport at all.
Doesn't get to a lot of your employees.
Right.
Would everyone, even the 8 that are in the Quad Cities, fall under the 30? Eldridge probably wouldn't, would it?
No, but he, like I say, I'm not sure if he's going to move to town or not. He's been living there. He was working part-time, so.
I can speak to one of the top tier companies in town. I had a conversation, similar conversation in the past 6 months. 50% of their employees live in town. 50% of their employees live outside of town. The majority of those live in the Quad Cities in Iowa City. I had that specific conversation, with them. They made that policy change several years ago that they could not keep employees in town and expect to hire top tier employees. So they made that policy change, and it has affected the company. 50% of their employees now live outside of the county.
Yeah.
Further questions or comments? Anybody?
I do agree with Osama and the fact that I would love to have all employees living and working in the city of Muscatine, but even the school district, the department I was in prior to retiring had seven staff members, and at one time I was the only one living in town. So,
Yeah,
it's a matter of people commute. So,
and if we lose these officers, it's going to cost us a lot of money down the road here by rehiring, retraining.
Right, and like I say, this isn't just for the police department. Again, it's for the fire department, all the city departments. I don't want you to think that I'm doing this just for the police department. I just think it's something that the city needs to take a look at.
And I agree with you wholeheartedly. I'd love to see everybody live within and work within the city of Muscatine, but I guess for me, I'd rather see us promote from within and promote our top tier employees to be command officers within the police department or the fire department. Those are the folks we want in charge. We want our top employees in charge, and to do that, we need a change.
Yeah.
yeah.
I agree.
Anyone else? Council?
Let's vote.
Thanks very much.
I appreciate you listening tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate you being here. Good job. Those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay.
Nay.
Motion carries 5-1. Item R, presented for City Council's consideration, is a request to approve change order number 8 for the water pollution control plant renovation project. This change order in the amount of $46,790 incorporates a number of minor changes to the project. With this change order, the total change orders to the contract will increase to $172,921. Is there a motion to approve the request as submitted?
So move, Your Honor.
Moved by Diane.
Second, Your Honor.
Second by Bob Bynum. Discussion. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. It is time now for council comments. We'll start with Mark.
I have nothing tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Phil?
Nothing at this time, Mayor.
Okay. Mark. Scott? What's up?
I have nothing tonight. Thank you, Your Honor.
Bob Bynum?
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Thank you. Diane?
Just one quick comment, and I know it's a little ways away, but it's October 9th. We're going to have a community block party at the Y outside. There will be nonprofits participating, and that includes I understand, the city as well, because they'll have fire and police vehicles there on the property for people to view. So it should be a very interesting couple hours.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Greg?
Just one item, I don't remember the date though. I'm happy to report we're going to have a joint open house of the police and fire stations this year on October? Yeah. October 2nd. So, I'm just happy that it's a joint open house. Okay, great, it's on the website.
Well, that's good that it's a joint.
Absolutely.
Yes. That's
Okay, I have nothing. Franny, you have anything? Nothing? Okay. Is there a motion to go into closed session to discuss the sale of city property?
Someone.
Moved by Osama,
Second.
second by Phil. Osama,
Aye.
Phil,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Scott.
Aye.
Diane,
Aye.
Bob Bynum.
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0. We will go into closed session.